Hi everyone, it is Brenda from Artfully Blessed, and today we are going to continue with our series on beginner journal making, and this is video 4. So on the last couple videos, we created the cover, we sewed in our signatures, and we decorated just a tiny bit on the cover. So I hope you've been enjoying that. Today, we're going to work on the inside. And this is what we call the fun part, right? Because we start to decorate and put all kinds of bling and stuff in the journal. I'm hoping today not only to decorate with you and show you what I do, but to give you some tips and tricks that worked for me. It could be something I recently discovered. It could be something I've been doing for a while, but there's so many great people out in YouTube and Instagram and Pinterest, Facebook, all over the place that, you know, they have great ideas, and sometimes those work for you, sometimes they don't. But the point is just to try new things and to do what makes you happy. So I'm going to set the journal aside for right now because I want to talk about the kit. This is the portion of the Cottage Province kit that it has like the ephemera and the pockets and things like that. So this is actually just printed on regular copy paper, or you know, whatever. I don't know that I meant to do it on copy paper. It might have just been a mistake, but it's good for this video because I can kind of show you some things that, you know, that I already cut apart. I can kind of show you it on the papers. So let's just go ahead and walk through this real quick. So there's some beautiful cards here that you would print on cardstock. If you printed them on just regular copy paper, though, you could actually glue them to cardstock. You could glue them to another piece of scrapbook paper maybe you have some scrapbook paper that has white on one side, and then the other side it's kind of like, it's kind of ugly, and you don't really think you're going to use it. As long as it's not too dark, you could put that side here and give this a little bit more weight, and then you'd still have the white part for journaling. Okay, so those are gorgeous. And then of course the lovely, lovely flowers that go with the journal. And just because I cut this on this paper does not mean I'm going to go toss this away, because I did do it on cardstock, and I'm going to show you that in a second here. But I will still use this because I can glue this on a page. You know, I can still cut these out. I can tear them apart. There's still uses for this. This is going to come into play a little bit later. This is actually little booklets that My Porch Prints usually gives with their kits, where you just cut this out, you fold it in half, and you have like a little mini booklet for inside your journal. Those are always really fun to do and give you lots of extra journaling space. This is gorgeous. This is a file folder. And this type of thing you would want to print double-sided. So maybe you go through your printer with coffee dye paper first, and then you print it on this side. And then that way you have a nice inside of coffee dye paper, so that when you fold it up, you see that, you know, here. So like I said, you're going to see a lot of this stuff later. This is fun. I plan on doing some really fun things with these. Some more folders, the envelopes. And what's really nice for me today, especially, I kind of know how to do this, but what's kind of nice is that I have this paper, because this gives you the directions. So just so that you know, let's say that you printed this out and you're cutting this out with scissors, then you can say, oh, okay, now I know that I need to fold up the bottom and then the top flap and the sides. So they tell you, here's the bottom. So here you would fold the sides, fold the bottom, and then that's your top flap. So they do very well with giving you directions on how to fold the stuff together. They also have a lot of videos on their own YouTube channel and Facebook group and stuff like that. So do check them out, because they really work with their kits and show you a lot of things. Okay, more envelopes. More. This is actually 3 tuck spots. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. You could make it 4. This is, you know, folders. These are the simplest folders to put in your journal. You know, you just cut this out, fold in these flaps, and glue it in, and you have a nice, tuck spot or whatever. This is gorgeous, isn't it? I love these. So I will definitely use some of these in my journal just to glue on pages. So I have that. Let's set that aside real quick. The next thing I want to show you is, in addition to the kit, sometimes I will grab some items from another kit. And this is actually a My Porch print as well. I'll try to remember to link it on the bottom, but this is kind of nice because this could go in any journal, right? So I printed these on cardstock, and as you see here, I did coffee dye paper on the back, and that is also a My Porch print. It's a back from one of the kits, I forget which one, but if you find, you can even do your own coffee dye. Just kind of save it, scan it if you have a scanner, scan it up to the as a JPEG, and then you can always print that on the back of your items. But this is how it looks, and then when I printed it on cardstock, you know, I just cut these out, and these will be good for extra little things that we tuck into our journal. All right. Now, I will show you the method to my madness. I actually will, gotta set that aside. I cut things out, or I print things off. I printed them off, and I started cutting some things out, okay? And I even started putting some things together, okay? And I kind of did this just to kind of play around to see where I wanted to go with things. As you can see, I did this double-sided using the papers in the kit. And then when you put it together, not bad, right? So I will definitely use these. I did cut out one of those little mini journal tablets. As you can see, I also did that double-sided. So I don't have to line this with anything. This is ready to go. I could just sew some paper in there, and or staple. You could staple some paper in there. So I have all of these wonderful things cut or sort of cut, okay? That's that. Now, I have a Cricut, so I also, on my Cricut, decided to try to do this. Now, my Cricut, or this kit, not all of them, but if the kits come in PDF only, then you will have to kind of, I don't want to say bust them apart, but you'll have to find something that will open them and that you can save them as a JPEG. I was pleasantly surprised yesterday when I have Photo Elements, I think Adobe Photo Elements, and I bought it a long time ago for my laptop, and I thought, I wonder if I could do that. So I actually took the PDF, put it in there, and then I opened it, and I wanted to save it, and I believe it let me bust it apart, which was wonderful. I was so excited yesterday. Now, let me show you the size comparison in this. This one is actually from the kit, so you print it out on a PDF. This is what you get. You can cut everything out, okay? This one I did this morning. This is a size difference. This is as large as you can go when you're cutting it out with your Cricut. It's not huge, guys, but there is a little bit. So you would say, you know, maybe not even quite a 1/4 of an inch all the way around, but there's a little bit of a size difference because Cricut, you can only go so wide before you print, before it stops you, or when you put it on your mat to print, do a print and cut. So just so that you know that, but there's nothing wrong if you don't have a Cricut. There's nothing wrong with sitting down, just printing this, you know, printing this out, cutting this all out. You know, maybe you're a football fan, you can sit there and watch, you know, watch football tonight, and you can cut things out. There's no problem with it. And I did that for a long time. And what I do and what I have done in the past is I get so excited. I buy so many kits. I print everything out, and then I have it in folders. So I have a lot of this that it's too late for my Cricut, right? So I'm going to have to cut it out, and that's going to be okay. And there's nothing wrong with cutting it out this way and cutting it out that way, as you'll see, because I'm going to use both in my journal. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside here. So like I said, I have this stuff is cut out by my Cricut. What happens sometimes with your Cricut, though, is these were meant to kind of almost like go together, like let's say like a little side or top tab, and the Cricut decided that no, these are pieces that need to be cut, and that is okay as well, because I'm not going to throw these away. I'm still going to use them. I might decorate tags with them or whatnot, so that was okay. I was not upset about that. Another thing that I do is I print out the pages from the kit in both cardstock and in regular paper, because I might need it for something, and I'll have it at my fingertips. You don't have to do that right away. You could do it as you're working so you don't waste paper, but I like to kind of have everything all set so that when I say, oh, you know what, I need a sheet of paper that matches my kit, here it is. Okay, I hope this is making sense to you guys. For those of you that are, what do I want to say? For those of you that are not newbies, I apologize, because I know some of this might be, okay, yeah, we know, let's just get on with it. But I really want to cater to someone that, you know, maybe this is their first time that they're doing a kit, or, you know, they just don't have the confidence built or whatever, and I want to cater to everyone. So thank you guys for being patient with that. So I'm going to set that aside, and let's see what else I do. Another thing I do is I'll go through my stash a little bit ahead of time. Doesn't mean this is going to be it, but I'll go through my stash and I'll say, what might match my kit? Okay, like the kit has some keys on some of the papers, and you know, as you can see, $1.49. I got this regular $5.99. When I go to the store and I see things like this, I will snatch it up and I'll throw it in my, I have a bin called metal, and I kind of keep everything that's kind of metalish in there, so that will, you know, I went digging through that and I'm like, ooh, keys, and they don't look too heavy, so I'm going to definitely do something with that. I have, you know, ribbons that match, and, you know, so I'll throw them in there. In fact, let me grab my journal and show you. So I was telling you that, is this the same? Yep. I was telling you that I got a whole roll. I don't think that's the same. But anyways, gosh, it's close, but it isn't. No, I don't think it is. Anyways, but a whole roll of this ribbon, you know, you can get like from the dollar stores. And as you can see, it's wonderful to just add to your journal. Definitely cheap enough. But one thing I found, which I was kind of excited about, let me set this aside. I'll grab my tin of buttons, as you can see. More ribbon. I'll grab some cheesecloth. In cheesecloth, sometimes it comes in this color, but if not, you can just coffee dye it when you're coffee dyeing your paper and let it dry. And so that's always fun. Let me find what I was excited about, guys. Yep, here it is. So I found this, and I believe I got this from the dollar store too. I decided, remember I told you I'm just going to put my ribbon here, I think, because I love that it has green in it. I think I'm going to do this here and here too. I think that'll look really nice. So I was excited to find that. Another thing that I'll do is I'll dig out, do I have stickers? These are from Market 49, rolls of stamps. And I tend to try to get these in different colors. So if I'm kind of building a tag, or I just kind of need a little more something, I can go ahead and go into my stash and try to match up, you know, to what I'm working on and do that. No worries if you don't have all this stuff, guys. I'm trying to show you a lot of different options. Okay. So for today, What I want to do is let's start with a matchbook because this was super fun. So remember, I told you that what I like to do, I'm going to set my journal aside. What I like to do is cut the paper, or I'm sorry, copy the paper on cardstock, an extra bit of it, right? Not just what I put in my journal, but what I also, what I want to say, I also, you know, want extra because you never know when I'm going to need it, right? So what I decided is I would like some extra elements, not just what comes in the kit, but let's add some extra something, right? And so I was watching some YouTube videos yesterday, and I came across a couple matchbook videos, and I thought, oh, this is so much fun. And I think it was Treasure Books. She's fantastic. She was showing how to do it with eyelets on the bottom. And I thought that is fantastic. Now you could do it with glue, and I'm going to show you that. Or, you know, talk about that when we do this. But how fun is this? So I have this that was made from the other side of this. It comes in the kit, right? I just cut it. So it, you know, it was like this, and I did cut it down a little bit. But look at this. I actually just sewed, or I didn't even sew. I just did 2 holes, and then I looped the twine there to tie it. And you have extra pages that you can write on. And even when you have paper like this, guys, in your stash, don't throw away anything. So this was from a different kit, and I had extra that I printed up. It's so light that I could write on here. It's no problem at all. Here's some coffee dyed graph paper. And, you know, look at that. And then you just tuck it and you're good to go. Now, if I wanted to, I could glue it on a page in my journal, right? But if I don't want to, then I could just take a piece of a scrap, right? And just glue it over the top of those brads. And I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. So let's look at this one and get started on something, okay? So here we go. So for this, let's see what we're going to need. I'm going to need a cutter, or you could use scissors, okay? I am going to need brads, so let me grab some brads. If you don't have brads, we can just use glue. You will need glue if you don't use brads, okay? You're going to need glue anyway because we're going to put some elements on the other side, you know, on the top and here. You'll want to have something, if you want to ink your edges, you're going to want to have something to do that with. I love my corner rounder. Absolutely love this one. It has different sizes. I think I got it off of Amazon. I see a lot of people using the same one. And believe me, I have corner rounders, but I love this one because I can do 3 different sizes, okay? And then you're going to just need something to stick on the outside of it. It's for bling, right? It could be those tickets that I showed you earlier, you know, whatever you have, okay? And then I have some twine. I actually spent a good deal of time yesterday on my Cricut. I tend to buy tickets, sheets of tickets, and labels, and then I spend a little bit of time on my Cricut just printing those out so that I have them at my fingertips, right? So, you know, just if I wanted to stick something on here, it's as easy as just picking this out, right? So there's that. Okay, let's start. This one is not quite as tall or wide, so let me see how big this is. I'll try to make it about the same, okay? So this is about 3.5, a little bit more than 3.5. Let's see what this one is. Let's go a little bit bigger. I think I'm going to go 4 inches. And then this is like a little bit like 9, I think. So that's okay. We can do this a little bit different. So, oh, you know what? I'm not going to use this cutter. Yes, I am. Yep, I am. I apologize, guys. I don't mean to go all over the place. You're going to hear a little ding for a minute. I got to turn off my heater. Sorry about that. And the reason is because it's getting hot in here. I craft in my... I have a craft room, and it's at a corner of our house that tends to be cooled. It's an outside wall in here, and it tends to get kind of chilly. So when I come in here to craft, I'll usually have a heater on, and now I'm like, whoo, I'm getting a little hot, so I have to turn that off. Okay, so what we want to remember first, it doesn't even matter our width for right now, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. What I want to do is say what is going to face... what is going to be the right direction when I do my folds, right? So as you can see, this is the correct direction when I'm looking at this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm just going to kind of like fold this up a little bit and say, yep, that's the right direction. And then you flip this like this and you go, that is also the right direction. So I'm good, okay? Now, what you want to do is you want to come up enough, like, oh, let's see how big this is. This is maybe an inch. It could be an inch. You want to go at least an inch. You could go a little bit over an inch, but you don't want it too shallow, okay? You want to go enough. So I'm going to be a little generous with this, and I'm just going to fold this, and I'm going to hope I'm even. Okay, and you can take your bone folder and you can score it. Do a nice score in there. And of course, you guys know me. I'm losing everything. Oh, there it is. So take my bone folder and I'm going to give it a nice crease. Okay, now the top part, you're going to come down and you want to fold that enough. You don't want it like just to tuck in barely, okay? But you don't want it all the way down, right? So you want to come down just enough to give it a good tuck in there. So I'm going to just say like maybe that much, okay? So I'm going to fold that. Try to make sure that's even. And even at this point, guys, if it's not, it's going to be okay. And that's... I'm going to show you why. And I'm going to give that a nice score line. Okay, so I know that this will tuck into that. And I might have went a little too big, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. I can also just take a little bit of this off, which I might because it has some white there. Let me just take a smidge. Okay. All right, that's good. All right, that looks good. Now, I can decide now that I want it to be that 4 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit off of both sides just in case I am not even. This will even me up. All right. That is not bad. Okay. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to take my corner rounder and I want to round this, 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 and this, okay? And you can do the real large one. I'm going to do the medium on this one. I don't want it too round. And I'll tell you why in a second. If I went too crazy and this wasn't deep enough, it would kind of show here, which in my case, it's not going to be a problem, but I still want it to be like that. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to ink the edges. Now, some of the things I show you today are going to be things like this, and it might be where I split this in a couple of videos. I'll let you know at the end. But some of the things I will show you will be, you know, things like this where the kit doesn't really come this way, but I'm using the kit, right? I'm using papers from the kit. And some things will just be showing you how I take things from the kit and cut them out and glue them in, just to kind of help everyone out. I'm going to do both sides because I'm not sure if I'm going to glue this down or if I'm going to put it in my journal another way where you'll be taking it out. All right. It's also nice to do your inking because then you can kind of see things a little bit better on here. Now, I want to put my brads in. So I'm going to take my pokey tool. And remember, we did this when we were creating our signatures, right? So if you don't have one of these, but you have like an awl or something, just anything that will poke a hole, just go ahead and grab that. All right, so what I want to do, this is 4 inches, right? So now I'm going to find my center, which should be 2, right? So this is easy. So now this is my center is 2. I'm going to just come down up a little bit from the bottom. I want enough room that my brad is going to be okay. I don't want it too close here, but I don't want it too far up here either. Now, I can go up higher because obviously I have a lot of room. So maybe I'll just go up a tiny bit higher. Let me just, one more. Okay, so I'm going to poke a hole. Okay. And then what you want to do is you want it just kind of even with the sides as well. So let's say on the sides, you know, I want it at, let's say a 1/2 inch from each side, you know, each one of these ends here. Or I could even go in a little bit more, but I think I want it about that 1/2 inch mark. So, and what you can do too, guys, is you can say, you know what, I'm going to make a mark with a pencil so that I know I'm even. And see, even on the 2 inch, I was a tiny bit off. So let me do this with my ruler and see how close I come. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to mark that I want to do it here and here. Okay. And I can always erase that later, but the brad's going to cover it, so I'm not going to worry. So there is another one here. And then over here is my last one. And I went through both, but in case in case you need to, you can just take it and you can do that. All right, so now I'm going to take my brads and I'm going to put 3 of them in there. So I'm in Michigan, and that's why I told you I'm so cold. Our weather has been a little bit crazy. We just came through a big cold, very big cold snap, and now we have rain and rain and rain, and it's just the weirdest weather. If we're gonna have wetness at this time of the year, I'd almost rather just give me snow. It's prettier. It's not muddy, but you know, you get what you get. All right, so I'm gonna put my brads in here. And these are so much fun just to add to your journals, right? Maybe you have extra paper from, you know, a kit you're using, and you want to just add a little something to your journal. Just make one of these real quick and throw it in there, and it's just a little happy surprise for whoever gets that journal. Okay, so that's not bad, huh? We're not bad. Now, the thing is too, and you kind of saw what I was talking about when you put this in here. That's about the same. If for some reason though, you know, you're like, man, that's in there too, that goes too deep, which is not the case. You can always still trim some and do the corner punch again, and you're fine. So this is a matchbook. We can put paper here and, you know, to cover up those brads, but that is the start of your matchbook. So now, let's grab those papers that I had in the beginning. And let's see what we have here. I have this, I have that. It doesn't even have to be the same size of paper. It can also be paper that was from a kit. It doesn't matter. This is directional, but I might not care. Yeah, it might not matter to me. I'm not going to let it. Okay, so what I want to do is, this is 4 inches, right? So what I want to do, and sorry, I want to also see how big this flap is. So 4 inches by about 4 inches. So let's first cut this. Let me cut this at, I'm going to go 375, because I want this to go in the center, but I don't want it even. I could even go a little bit more. I think I'm going to do 3.5. Will that be too much? Give me a quarter. Yeah, I'm going to do 3.5. I'll show you why. When I put it in here, it'll give me a nice little gap on both sides. And like I said, you can choose. It doesn't have to be perfect. But one thing that's most important, I think, is that it is not longer than the point where this hits this. Because you could have all your papers tucked in there, but I think that they'd get kind of caught and wrinkly. So I usually try to come up a little bit more than that. So instead of 4, I'm going to try 3.5 there as well. I bet you it'll work. Look at that. Perfect. So 3.5 by 3.5, and then I can still tuck this, and it's not going to bother my paper. Okay? So that's all I have to do for the rest of them. This one is a little bit shyer than 3.5. It's 3. But in fact, I'm going to make it even a little smaller because it got torn. So let me cut the edges off a little bit. And just smidges. And then make sure it's not more than 3.5. Set that aside. What's super fun is you can kind of take your paper and, let's do this one. And I will usually fold it like this instead of like this, okay? Because then I'm not I'm not wasting so much. So let's just do some more of this graph paper. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna just want to even up my edges because I'm just kind of folding things willy-nilly. So I want to make sure I have a nice straight paper. All right, there's another graph paper. I think I do want one of these in here, so let me grab my ruler and tear this. Where are you, tearing ruler? I think you're nice and long. I think you'll work. Yeah, let me just... All right. Now I'm going to fold this. And I can fold it either way. I can fold it like this, or I can fold it, you know, the other way. It really doesn't matter. So now I'm going to stick this in, and I'm going to go a little bit more than 3.5, so I want to even up that other side. And then I'm going to flip it, and I want my 3.5. I'm going to lose my numbers, but you know what? That's okay. I'm not going to throw these away because I can use them on something else, okay? So, this one's too big. 3.5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we don't have to make it really big. We're gonna just a little something, just a little something to journal, right? Extra journal. And you can use plain paper or whatnot. So now you're gonna just kind of put this together. Maybe I'll start with one of these, put this here, or no. What I want to do is in between these, I want the smaller piece. Don't have the smaller piece to start with, have it inside. So I'm going to put that here. And then just, you know, don't have it too narrow, because remember, we're going to come with our thread and we're going to tie this. So I wouldn't go any narrower than this, but either way, it will pick up one of the threads. I just wanted to pick up both. There's that. And here's this. So now, when I put this in here, it will give me something fun to journal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my, like I said, I place my papers. I'm going to paper clip them. Trying to even them up. All right. All right. And for this one, I didn't really worry too much. I think I just said to myself, okay, I'm going to go so much in here and so much in here, and I eyeballed it, okay? So just like when we were sewing in our signature, guys, okay, I kind of tend to fold this a little bit. So I'm going to go maybe 1, 2, 3, let me see. If I go 3 in, will it catch that other paper? Yes, it will. So 3 in, 1, 2, 3, using the graph paper. But, you know, like I said, if you don't have graph paper here, just go ahead and just eyeball it. Okay. So I'm going to poke my hole. And then 1, 2, 3. This makes it easy for me because of the graph paper, right? And I'm going to poke my hole. Okay. Perfect. Now, all I have to do is take my twine, a thread, you know, the needle, and I have my trusty little threader that I talked about in my first or second video, can't remember now. Probably being way too generous with this, but I don't want it too short. So I'm going to thread my needle. This is the only way to thread for me. I don't want to struggle, especially on camera, right? All right, so I got that threaded. I'm going to put my threader aside. And I can kind of pull this back a little bit now. All right, so I have my thread. Now, what I want to do is I want to start on the outside. Let me think. Yes, because if I start on the outside, the part that will hold this together will be on the inside. You don't have to have it tied on the outside. You could just tie it off here. That's fine as well, but I wanted that little bit of decorative. So I'm going to start on the outside. I'm going to go through. Other hole. Come back. Grab your threads. Okay. I put my needle back in my little cushion there. Okay. So now what I can do is tighten this up. And then what I do like to do is do a knot, just because I want it to be held tight enough. Okay, so that's good. I can take off my paper clips. All right, now if I wanted to, I could just do a little bow here. That makes it look kind of fun. And I'll show you a little trick for that. If you get to where you're like, okay, I really like that bow, that looks really nice, but I'm afraid it's going to come loose, then what I do is I put a little dab of glue, and I just use my art glitter glue for this. Tiny little dab of glue. And then I set my bow down on it. And you can put something on top of it for a few minutes, you know, just to hold it. Okay, while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and look for something to put on the top of it, just to give it a little bit of extra bling. Okay. So that could be kind of fun. Maybe that's too dark though, we'll see. I like that one. That might blend in though. So many decisions, right? It's big. And I like to mix and match like between the different shapes as far as circles and, you know, whatnot, right? So maybe that would be good there. Not too bad. And then, you know, maybe I want to put a number. This is fun. That's really fun. That's very cool, isn't it? I like that. I could also, with this, could either punch a hole or you could just poke a hole. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. I'm going to tie this together. putting a brad in here. Hopefully it's not too big. Come on, cooperate with me. All right. Nice. All right, I'm going to ink these edges. Just a little bit. It just adds a little bit, you know, makes things pop out a little bit more. And you don't have to be super aggressive. The blacks, it's okay, but you could still do the edges because, you know, they're white, right, from being printed and cut out on white paper. So you could still do the edges. You know, and even on the top of something, you know, you could just a little bit, you know, ink. It just kind of ties everything together. Not sure if I'm going to use those. I do think I want to use one. We'll see. And even if I've inked them and I don't use them, well, hey, I'll use them another time, right? All right. Let's see if our bow has dried. And it has. And now I know it's going to stay. So I'm going to take these and I'm just going to trim them a little bit. And you can trim them more or whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do. All right. Now we're going to glue our other parts. So I'm going to glue this. I'd like to use my art glitter glue for these little bits and pieces, or people say bits and bops, because it holds it really well. Really, really like that because it is, and I'm going to put a little bit more around, kind of around that brad area. But I really like this because it really is going to tie in with the brads on the bottom. So whenever you can do that, you know, bring your things together, then that is, bring your projects together, you know, by adding the elements that kind of match. Ooh, I really like that. I don't know if I need to add more. I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to just stick with those. Keep it simple. Another thing you could do, you know, let's just say, okay, I have that. Maybe I do want something on that, just that first page. You know, maybe I put that. Maybe I put the numbers. You could, you know, do it on the inside here. I'm just going to put that date one. You just let your creativity flow. Fun, huh? And just like that, we have our matchbook done. All right. Now, we need to do one more thing here, though, because remember, I said I am not sure if I'm going to glue it in my journal. And if I do, I don't need to worry about this. So let's look. Let's take the journal. And let's find a spot for it. That might be a good spot. I think I'm going to go for that. Another thing too that you can do to bring things together is you can, you know, actually take some elements, you know, like those tags or whatnot, and you can put them on the page. Other times I like to add maybe a scrap of, you know, paper behind it. You know, whatever is going to tie, you know, everything together for you, is what you should do. You know, just, you really can't make mistakes. Now, this is meant for journaling. So I have to think here. This isn't too bulky. Will I be able to write? So one thing I do consider is when I printed my kit, I have, you know, one lovely page and then one, well, they're all lovely, but I have one page with just decorative, then I have one page for journaling. So if I put a lot of stuff on here, bulky things, when I go to write, it's going to be hard, right? You don't have to put, you know, have this for journaling, but try to keep that in mind. So what I like to do is if I'm going to have a page with something on one side, I want to put something on the other side. Now there's a lot of journaling pages in this, okay? So I don't really, it's not a problem for me to use both sides of this for something, okay? So, you know, I could even put that there, right? But I think I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to glue it on, and then I know on this page I'm also going to put something. It could be a folder with tuck spots or whatnot. That is going to be fine. Just going to see if there was anything that I want to put behind this before I glue it down. I'm dropping my stuff, guys. I think I'm going to wait. I can always add later. Okay, so I think on this one, instead of just, you know, having it in here clipped or whatnot, I'm going to glue it on. So the person that will be using this will open this up and they can write in here, but they're not going to be able to take it off, okay, the page. It's just going to be meant just to write in it as it is, okay? And that brings up a point, but that's going to be okay because I'll be able to write in here, because on the other side, I'm just going to have a folder, and that'll probably be down here, so my writing won't be affected. Now, for something like this, I could use my art glitter glue, and I probably will. You could use a glue stick for this part if you wanted to, right? And then maybe just use your art glitter glue here. You could also, if you're nervous about holding, do the Fabri-Tac. But I think I'm going to just do my glue stick and then my art glitter glue. So I'm going to put a generous amount of glue stick. Okay. And then I'm going to do, for some reason, this baby wants to clog up on me a lot. So I have to do the whole punchy thing in it a lot. All right, so let's get, you want to go close to the edges, but not right on the edge, because you don't want it seeping into the paper inside. Plus, when you push this down, right, it's going to seep anyway, somewhat. I'm going to be very careful to not go in the holes where the brads are, but to go around the brads, okay? I had my finger there, so I pulled up the glue. Okay. I'm going to stick this down right there. I'll flip that up for a second. And I'm just going to kind of press with my hand or my thumb or whatever to make sure that this is glued down really well. It looks straight. Okay, so that looks really good. You could even take your bone folder and, you know, open up all your pages and then just kind of really smush that glue stick and glue down. Just to make sure that you have a really good contact with that back paper. And that is done. How much fun is that? Look at that. We have something in our journal now. All right. Now let me put my pin back in my glue so it doesn't clog again. And I'm going to pick up my labels. All right, now I have this other matchbook, right? And this one, I'm going to still use this in my journal, right? Because this is part of the kit, this paper. So it's really kind of fun to use it. Now, another thing you can do as well is you could paper clip it to a side. Okay, so there's lots of different ways to use that, but I do want to cover this back because I know I'm going to clip it in, and I don't want people to see the brads. Okay, so let me see if this is even. Let me get a good edge on it, and then I'll be able to tell you. Just going to take a tiny smidge off of each side. I think that was even. Okay. I want to round the corners. I think it'll just look nicer. I'm going to try to go with the medium one. And then, of course, I'm going to ink it. I'm an inker. I do like, and I love the oxides. I like the inks, the Distress inks from Tim Holtz as well. But, you know, just play around and see which one you like the best. And what I like to do too is I like to, if you have enough, you know, you can always save up and keep doing the 40% off or whatever and get the handles for each of your popular ones so that you don't have to keep taking these off. Okay, then I will usually say, okay, this is walnut stain. You could write it on a piece of paper and tape it around there. I have a labeler so that I decided to use it. Okay, and that's still, even though I took off some ends, it's still enough there that I can glue that on, okay? So I'm going to do that. And I think I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac here because this is kind of bumpy, and I do want to make sure that this is nice and has really good contact. And I know with Fabri-Tac that nothing's getting through that. So I'm just going to kind of go around the edges a little bit and then in the center. And you can smush it with your finger or not, but I just kind of smush it down when it gets on the paper. Oop. See, and I got a little bit there. I end up with gluey fingers. All right. Oh, I'm going to slide that over a little bit because I had it not even. All right, so I'm just going to kind of let that dry. I'm going to set that aside and let that dry. And then later, I'll probably try to put like a label of some sort on the back. Yeah, maybe that one. I'll set that aside. Look at that, how good that goes. I'm going to set that aside and let this dry first, and then I'll add that label, and then this will be ready to tuck in our journal, okay? So let me just set that aside. And grab our journal again. Now, we have this page, and I said we could do a tuck or a folder of some sort on this side. So let me grab what I already cut out. In here. This is all cut out with my Cricut. But I had some folders that I started to cut out. So there's one. funny, I looked through here before I started, and I found it then. There it is. Okay, perfect. So what I might want to do to say, okay, this page is finished, is decide, okay, do I want to put a folder in here right now and consider this done? Okay, so let's do that. This one I already made. I folded everything together, okay, but I'm going to show you how to do it on here. What I like to do is I like to, doesn't really matter, I'm just trying to, I'll just do it here because at least it's clear or easier for you to see. What I like to do is, like, I have a magazine that I use for my gluing, right? But what I like to do, if I've cut something out, or whether I cut it out or the Cricut cut it out, instead of just trying to fold that edge, I like to score it to make it a little bit easier and to make it even. So I will score it. I'll take a ruler and I'll score. And the magazine, as long as it's thick enough, right, will give me enough of a cush, all right, to make that score line. You could put it on your scorer, if you have something like that. But for myself, and it's probably me, I found when I try to line this up, I go off, and it's a hot mess. So this is the easiest part for me to do. Okay, so now you can kind of like work your tabs, back and forth. All right, and then you're gonna fold them. I do like a little bit of a fold first to make sure I don't need to do additional trimming. And it really doesn't matter really which way you do it, just that it looks good this way. Okay, and that does. I don't think I need my gluing book right now. Okay, so this looks good. So now I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to just do a nice crease. Okay. I do want to ink my edges. Shocker, right? So I'm going to ink my edges. And another reason, guys, why I like to ink my edges is you see right here when I did that fold, right? There is a little bit of white paper there. And inking your edges, no one will know. It just blends. Plus, I think it really brings everything together and gives it that nice aged look. You don't have to use like a dark color. Maybe you're making a nice bright journal, and you can just use a different color ink. I mean, it'll just be beautiful. Now, this is going to go here, but that's kind of plain, right? So remember earlier when I said, hey, I printed that kit. And I could use something from the kit, as my background and just glue it on there, right? It's not going to be bulky, so it won't matter for reading, for writing on that other side. So let's pick something pretty. Maybe that one. That'd be kind of pretty, wouldn't it? Because that's too wide. Yeah, I think we're going to go with that one. Now, you could cut it or you could tear it, either way. I'm going to try to tear, and if it ends up being a disaster, well, guess what? Then I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut this part out because I don't want to bring the rest of that. All right, so now let me finish tearing. There are days when my tearing goes really well, and then there's days where it doesn't. Let's hope today is the good day. And it doesn't look bad. All right, so I'm going to just ink the edges, and I don't mind that this isn't totally even, because that's meant to be that way, like distressed and torn. Okay. So now bringing the book back. See, that looks better already, doesn't it? And I've inked my edges so this stands out, right? So now I want to glue this here because I'm going to put my folder here. And I could come down just a little bit so the whole thing stays in there, or, you know, is like that. Or it could be up like that. It doesn't matter. Just kind of play around with placement. I kind of want it like that. All right. I know that's going to be like that. And if you're kind of like worried about, well, how will I remember that placement again? You could actually just leave it setting there. And, you know, you could glue some on, you know, some on here and then put it down and then glue some on here. But I'm not going to worry, because you can even do that after you've done your gluing. And for this, because it's just a light paper, I'm just going to use my glue stick, and it will hold it just fine. Because I'm very, very generous with my glue stick. All right, so once again, I'm just going to set this here for placement. And I know that I want to be like right about here, okay? So let's do that. And I like to burnish it down with my bone folder just to make sure I have a nice seal. Now, if you're like me and you're a little crazy with your glue stick, you might have a little bit of glue that seeps out. So make sure you kind of wipe that up a little bit, because you don't want your pages sticking together. Okay. Now when I put that there, that will be good, yeah? For this one, I do use my art glitter glue. And put a little bit under here. I want it to catch on the corners there. Don't go too close to the edge. Don't go too close to the edges on the inside. Actually, you don't even have to go close at all. You can just go like that, because you don't want it to glue the inside of your envelope. Or I'm sorry, not your envelope, but your tuck, your folder. All right, I'm just gonna hold that down. So this is going to be nice. I'm going to be able to tuck some tags and stuff in there. And you can also, you know, either with stamps, die cuts, or whatnot, you could, you know, add things. There's some purple ones as well. That's way too big. That might look kind of nice. It has the purple and the black. Ooh, I like that too. Maybe I'll do that because it kind of grabs both colors. And you can ink or not. This time I'm just gonna glue things down. Okay. Like I said, just adding these little bit of elements like this just really takes it from, yeah, that looks cute, to, wow, that's really fun. So you don't have to add a lot to make things look nice. You know, get creative, even if it's just like, oh, I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon to this or something. I like to do that too. On my, this already has decorative on the bottom, but if it didn't, I might add a piece of ribbon here. Okay, and that would be fun because then it would really make it bling. But when I was mentioning tuck spots, so look at, you have some tuck spots here, and I'll probably leave a few things in there. So let me grab, I cut out some things from the kit and I did back them. So I might just do one for right now. So this one, and I have glue here, so it's not good, but that's okay. I'm going to figure something out. This one here, it's a page from the, paper from the kit, and I did back it on a manila folder, thinking, oh, that's smart. It's going to make it nice and thick. Look what's there. That's not cool, is it? So I need to cover that up, but see, there's glue here. I also need to do something about that. So let me think what we could do, and I can add it to that pocket. I think for the top part, I'm just going to trim a little bit off. And now that's not so noticeable, okay? I also have a tag, so yep, I think we're going to do that. Okay, so for this one, let's see what else we can do. I want to make sure it's even, so let me kind of look at it, because when I cut it, I'm not sure if I cut it even, so I'm just going to take a smidge, whoops, smidge off of each side. Okay. I think that's pretty good though. Okay, so I have this. I'm going to round my corners. I'm going to use my big corner rounder for this. All right. And now I need to do something about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab those papers again. And I'm going to see if any of them will work. And it doesn't even have to be like a tag or anything. It could be any one of these elements. Ooh, that purple would go with that though, wouldn't it? Let me... Let me see. I think this time I'm going to cut, and I'm going to show you why in a second. That's what I was hoping was going to happen. Okay, so all right, let's see if that's going to work. I think it will. Yeah, I think it just works. There's that little bit there, but you know what? I'm going to be okay with that. Because you'd have to have an eagle eye, right? Or I could bring this up a little too, right? I could just go like that. That could even be a tuck spot, guys. Now we're thinking. A tag with a tuck spot. This is pretty flimsy. All right. See where I'm going with this? Ooh, but then that really makes it thick, doesn't it? You know, that's going to be okay, though. I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, so I'm going to glue this on with a glue stick. Flip this over because I don't want to have glue from my previous time. And I'm going to glue it to this extra piece of manila paper here I have. Now you could wait for it to dry, but I'm just getting up. I want to see how much time. Oh, lots of time has went by, guys. Wow. All right, I'm going to probably split this video into a couple different sections. Sorry about that. So I'm going to finish this part up, and then I'm going to stop this video, and then I will do a few more, and we'll continue on with this. Because on the next one, I want to definitely show you how to do a hidden paper clip with one of the elements. Okay. So if that was a tuck spot, it would cover. I could go like that and have some of it stick out so it trims up a little bit better. I might do that. All right, so I want to ink it. All right, sorry about the long video. I told my husband I think I need to get a timer just so I know when to stop for each video. And he offered to let me use his. And I said, I think I'll be okay. Well, I'm not. Okay. So this is good. I'm going to just hold that here. And I'm going to daringly cut this ahead of time. There we go. Because I want to know how I want that to line up. All right. I know that looks really good. And it's covering that, right? So on this, for my tuck spot, I only want to glue the bottom and the side. So I will use my art glitter glue for that. So just a thin line of art glitter glue. Okay. And you want it to line up. All right, and it's not a huge tuck spot, right? But it's big enough. And that kind of makes it fun, doesn't it? Look at, I can add a number. Even on the other side, I could add a number if I wanted to. I don't have to add anything, really. It's beautiful just the way it is. But it's always fun to add a little something, right? Just to make yours different than everyone else's. You know, let your creativity flow. So this is cool, right? And now what I have is I have like a little text spot. So here's another card that comes in the pack, you know, even though it sticks out. But it's something like this I could tuck in there. You could even, see if I have something teeny tiny. Oh, that's a little tag. Will that fit? Yeah. There's these tags, which look at, I've backed that one. But I could actually put a little tag there, right? And that could be like, oh, okay, I have this, and then I have a nice little tag, right? And how fun is that? Yeah, there's lots of tags. So this tag would actually go with that. So that's fun. So maybe I'll do that. And I can stick it in pretty straight so that it doesn't stick out so much, right? So let's do this. I'm going to do this tag. And like I said, sorry for the long video, but I'm kind of creating this with you. I'm not doing things ahead of time because I'm trying to give you the full experience, right? I'm going to do my corner rounder because I think it just looks really nice on the tags. And then I am going to ink my edges. You don't have to ink aggressively like me. You can just do the sides, but I like to just come up a little bit, you know, here and there, just to kind of give it that vintage. And then I do flip it over, and I do the same on the back. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you something. I do want to put the tag, yeah, put the tag in there, but I do want to make a hole with my Crop-A-Dile and put an eyelid in there. So let me do that. I'm just gonna eyeball it. So I'm trying to hurry now. I'm gonna eyeball it. I'm gonna put my little hole right here. Okay, not even, and I'm okay with that because, you know, it's not about perfection, guys, right? All right, I want to show you guys my little find. When I set my eyelets, and you guys might have the same problem, when you set your eyelets, sometimes things don't turn out very well. Like, for instance, where's that piece of paper that I just glued on? Yep, right here. For instance, see how this one doesn't look too bad, but this one looks like a disaster, okay? Different eyelets will, you know, crush and appear broken and just, they're a hot mess. I found this on Amazon, and I didn't know how to use it, but I experimented a little yesterday, and so I'm going to show you how nice this is. I'm going to I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to take one of these little rings that comes with it. It also comes with like a puncher thing, or, you know, to bam down and set these, but I don't really need that, so I took it out. And I'm going to set that aside. So I have two pieces, right? I am going to put that ring on my eyelet first. All right. And then I'm going to stick it through my hole. Oh, and that's another thing. So these eyelets are a little bit wider than what this punch is. So what I do in that case is I'll take some scissors and I'll just kind of very gently, just a little bit of turns, not too big. You don't want it too crazy big. I'll just do that until it fits nicely. Okay, so that's popping through there. Very nice, right? Now, when I take this and set it, not bad. It's nice and smooth. And look at, isn't that nice? You know, it's not totally perfect, but man, it's a lot more perfect than I usually set. So I have my eyelet, and I'm going to stick it in the back of here, right? But I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon or something first. So I showed you earlier, I had a bunch of ribbon and whatnots. I had some seam binding. But I think for this one, it's kind of bluish, isn't it? What would be the best? I think for this one, I'm just going to do this and call it good. So I'm just going to take a little piece of my ribbon. Look at this one, 49 cents. That's when you buy stuff, guys. When you can get it cheap, believe me. You won't regret it. Now, the reason I back this, guys, with a manila folder is I wanted it to be really nice and sturdy. Because if I set something with an eyelet, sometimes when I'm pulling my ribbon, I tend to get a little aggressive. You don't have to do that each time. Just if you just have plain cardstock or a light cardstock, just make sure that when you pull this, that don't get too aggressive. Whoop. Let's cut it with these a little bit nicer angle. All right, so I have this. I'm going to stick this in the back here. All right, and with that ribbon there, it's not bad. And then look at, I put it in the pocket. And then I have this other tag that's already done. And I could stick that in the pocket if I wanted to as well. Okay, but I'm going to just leave that one for right now. And that is going to be the end of today's video, or at least the video number 1 for today. When I edit this, I'm going to try to make it a little less long. Hopefully I can edit out a little bit, but if not, I apologize for how long it is. When we come back, I do want to show you real quick. I am going to show you how to make one of these and decorate it up. And I do want to do a hidden pocket. So we're going to add some more elements to our journal. And like I told you, not all of my decorating is going to be on video because it would take me a long time to do each and every video. But I am going to try to do some and give you guys some tips and stuff on, you know, how to decorate your journal and add bling to it. So I hope this is helpful. And please drop a comment and let me know if there's something particular you want to see, or if you know, you have any suggestions for me. I will gladly take them. If you're new to my channel, thank you. I see I have some more subscribers this week, so thank you guys so much. And if you're not a subscriber but you ran across this, there are 3 videos before this one that show you, you know, start to finish on this. We're working through making a journal together. And I will, after this journal's finished, and maybe even in between, I'll add other videos on how to do certain things as well. So thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. That means a lot to me. And I will talk to you guys soon in my next video. So stay tuned for video 5 after this one. Thank you so much.